Hi guys, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So to start, side quest is just like Mythic Quest in the sense that I cry over one episode, which Ashley, I told you that at the junket that there's every season there's one episode that just wrecks me as a person. And so I wanted to ask you guys, when you are doing something that is so unique from the original series, but still has elements that bring us to it, what was the biggest challenge of making side quest its own thing while still having that Mythic Quest love that fans are going to turn in for?
Can I ask you really quick what episode made you cry? I'm curious.
The third one, when the light goes to little girls with the
I can't even think about it. I've seen that episode 100 times at this point, and now I cry in the beginning because I was like, there's one of the end too. I can't. Yes, I get it.
Amazing. Sorry, I just had to ask you that.
That's okay.
What was your question? Sorry.
What was the challenge for all of you guys about like making sure that the love and the bond that fans have with the original series is there while still making side quest its own thing?
Yeah, I mean, we all have come from Mythic Quest. We worked on it since the first season. Katie's written two of the standalone episodes of that series. So we really kind of just brought the same ethos into side quest, which is like, how can we tell really compelling, self-contained stories that are speak to some kind of universal experience while also being entertaining and funny in and of themselves. So, we knew for these episodes that there needed to be some sort of connection to Mythic Quest, but sometimes that connection is pretty small. Like Pull List, which is our episode about the Black-owned comic book store. The connection is that all these super fans are fighting over one Mythic Quest comic. But really it's about this community, and it's about comic books, and it's about, gatekeeping and all that kind of stuff. And then there's all the way to there's an episode about Phil in Song and Dance, which is the art director for Mythic Quest. So we were able to kind of stretch and pull how much connection to Mythic Quest there actually was in the episodes. But yeah, we just sort of brought that same mentality of what made the standalone episodes in Mythic Quest successful, which is, create compelling characters and a compelling story that says something interesting. And we tried to apply that to the 4 episodes that we made.
Yeah, well, the first one hit a little too hard because I watched it right after working through a vacation. And I was like, oh no, it's me. And then the second episode, I was like, I'm a nerd. So it's like every episode, there was something I just loved about it. And so I wanted to ask you guys, because with the second episode, it's to see how Mythic Quest also hit the comic community and how comic book fans like it and are obsessed with it. It made me think of communities as a whole and where people kind of find their love. I have friends who we're all comedy nerds, so Mythic Quest is something we watch together, or theater nerds, or whatever it is. So I wanted to ask all three of you, what is that community for you guys, and how has it been getting to bring that to life for a lot of people in side quest?
Oh.
For me, I grew up skateboarding. That was and I don't do that very much anymore just because I'm in my 40s now, but and I don't want my bones to shatter. But that's something I still. It had such an impact on how I looked at the world, and I still kind of pay attention to it and what's going on in there, just because if you ask anybody who's ever skated, even for a short period of time, you just end up looking at the world in such a different way, in a more oh, I could do this there and do that. An urban landscape becomes a totally different, you see it through totally different eyes. And it's that's never left me, just because I had such an intense love and passion and interest for this thing, that it's that I, even though I'm not skating around downtown LA anymore, there's still part of me where I'm very strongly feel identified with that group of people in that community, and that I understand them, and if I was to talk to them, they would understand me. We would have something to talk about, even though I've been kind of out of it for 20 or 30 years or whatever it is, so I mean, I really understand that aspect of it. If something gets you at a certain time in your life or a certain age, and you're just in that thing, that kind of defines who you are in a certain way for the rest of your life, I think. So and I think that's Pull List feels like that too, where it's you feel this, it's watching certain people, particularly Cherry, in a place where she's the one place where she's comfortable
Mm.
in her entire life. And just like, I totally relate to that, where you find these rare, especially if you don't feel like you fit in other
Yeah.
places, finding those places that you do, and like how good that can feel, and like how, wow, I finally feel comfortable in my own fucking skin. Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to swear, but but yeah, that's I mean,
That's the skateboarding talking.
yeah, exactly.
It came
He's a
out.
bad boy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I want to ask for my last question. I want to ask you, Katie. So you wrote Everlight, which was in season 1, the episode that made me cry, and
All right, let's hold for a second. She froze.
I think people think sometimes that we are
Yes,
opposite.
because they thought you were an actor
Is it-
at one point.
Yeah.
All right, let's just I'm just gonna move her into the waiting room and bring her back in again. Sometimes that reconnects. So let's just do that real quick.
I'm off.
We're still rolling.
She's trying. She's trying to get in.
She's rejoining.
This keeps creaking. And I'm like, is it gonna?
Rachel, we kind of you
Hello.
dropped for
Oh,
just a
no.
second. So why don't you go ahead and let's continue with the last question, then you can wrap.
Great, thank you so much. So for my last question, I wanted to ask you, Katie, with, like I said before, I think of episodes that make me cry of Mythic Quest all the time. Like Everlight is one of them. The Isaac Asimov one is one, and I think about them like all the time. For you, as someone who's been a part of the show for so long, and also the same deal with It's Always Sunny, where people think about certain things all the time. What for you is the biggest joy of getting to bring new episodes of these things to fans and see how they react to the new stuff that you guys are doing with these shows?
Yeah, so Ashley brilliantly wrote Everlight.
Oh, that's right. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
No,
that's
no,
okay. We're basically all the same. We've fused
Yeah.
together,
We fused
the three of us.
Hybrid, yeah.
Yeah, we've gone full Hydra. Yeah, I think that what makes any of those kinds of special episodes special is that it's just the connection, the universal themes of them. And again, that's what we were really trying to bring into SideQuest, where you have an episode like Dark Quiet Death or Backstory, where it's somebody who kind of got where they were on a lie, but it didn't start out as a lie, and they didn't want it to be a lie. But now you kind of believe your own magic, and we know a lot of people that get to that point, and that imposter syndrome that a lot of us feel.